Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome or welcome back to Seeking Out Sunshine. I'm Ashley, and welcome to another Strokes of Sunshine. In today's video, we are going to do a little bit of a shout out for a friend. We're going to look at what I've been coloring the past week, and then we are going to be playing with some watercolors and some gouache. So, if you are only interested in the watercolors and the gouache, I will try to put the timestamps down below. But if not, and you are here for the whole ride, here we go. My Strokes of Sunshine this week goes out to the beautiful Connie at Color and Chemist. If you are not familiar with Connie, I encourage you to go check out her channel. She is like a coloring supplies guru. I love watching her supplies videos because she is extremely knowledgeable. She is so intelligent, and I just am so fascinated by everything that she is able to share with her knowledge about coloring supplies and how they work and what papers they work well on. But beyond that, she is an incredible colorist. And she did one of the coolest things for the coloring community this past month, and she created a list of every single coloring channel that she could find on YouTube and created a Google document that people could get into with clickable links to be able to go out and support one another in the coloring community. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. What an amazing gift to give back to this community. What a stellar way to be able to give a cheer, and root for every single person, whether they are just starting today or whether they have been here for a while now. And Connie, I just think that just shows what a beautiful, bright light you are in this world. And I believe that even before you put this list out, and this just made you shine even brighter. So, Connie, thank you for what you are doing. She has said that if you are not on that list and you have a channel, or if you choose to do so in the future, to just reach out to her, and she is going to keep updating that document. And I just think that that is a treasure for our community. So, Connie, you get my sunshine shout out this week, and I truly appreciate all that you are doing in our community. Okay, moving on to what I have been working on in my coloring books. This gives you a little preview of the books that I have been working in. And the first one is from A Million Kisses, and this is the first page that I've started in this book, and it is this one. And so I got out my Crayola Super Tips and laid them on my Caran d'Ache palette and used them as like a watercolor and just did my first layer on here. I didn't pick a color palette, you guys. I was so proud of myself. I was like, Ashley, just get out your Crayola Super Tips and just have fun, and don't worry about the color scheme. Don't worry about anything. Just kind of like let your intuition of how you want to create this page unfold. And I'm just glad that I did. I'm glad that I pushed myself in a new way. Obviously, I have more layers to put down, but happy with how it is turning out currently. So that is A Million Hugs and Kisses from Lulu Mayo. The next book I worked in was Cats, Coloring for Mindfulness, and this is a book that I saw on Colored by Maya's channel, as I know many of you have too. And I had not colored a picture in this, and so I just decided to start with the title page. And I'm seeing that this is kind of a pattern for me. When I get a new book and I'm intimidated to start a page, I'll just go to the title page, and it gives me an opportunity to try out mediums just to see how the paper works, and I'm not as worried about messing it up, which I'm trying to work on that, guys. I'm trying to work on just letting it be, but as I say, I am a work in progress myself. But I got out my Neocolor 2s and then some watercolors to do this little title page here that I've started. The background was all Neocolor 2s for the first layer. I need to go back on top of that and do some more. And then everything else was my watercolors. So fun little starts to that page, and we are actually going to work in this book today. Next is the first page that I grabbed this month, and it is from Pop Manga, Dragons, and Other Magical Mythical Creatures, and it is by Camilla Derco. And I just wanted to play with my watercolors one day, and I wanted to get out my Neocolor 2s. So I got my my Gansey Tambi granulating watercolors out, and I just painted the whole background this blue color. and then let that dry and worked on the dragon with some Neocolor 2s, and then decided that I was going to go in and do like these snaky, I'm just going to call them snakes. These snakes with colored pencil on top and some metallic watercolors. And then I did end up covering some of them up. So I used one of my new metallic markers that you guys saw in my coloring haul that I just got from Five and Below to cover up some of them and just have more of a background in some parts. And then I did go on top and do some highlighting with some more metallic paints on top, and got out my grabby glitter gel pens as well. So just a fun page. I was actually doing this while my oldest and I were doing a rewatch of the Harry Potter movies this past week. His brother was at theater rehearsals every day, and so we had some time together, and it's been kind of a tradition the last couple years. Harry Potter was like his favorite when he was young, and so in the summertime we try to do a rewatch of some of those shows, and this was a perfect page for me to be coloring while we were watching that. So lots of fun. Next is Yoga Animals So Cute, a mindful miragerie to color by Kimma Parrish. And I, again, colored the title page. Not done yet, but started this basing it all with Crayola Super Tips, and I did not use them as a watercolor, just straight on coloring the page. And then have gone on top with some Prismo colored pencils and some Lango gel pens. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And we'll continue to do that. And then I'll have to figure out what I want to do for the background. But I wanted to see how the markers performed. They do bleed through, but the good news is this is a single-sided book. So if I choose to use the Crayola Super Tips in here, I don't have to sacrifice a page. On the back, I can also use alcohol markers in here, which I love too, but this book is so cute. I think that I saw this on Told You Wood Colors. She has so many of these pages completed, and they are just adorable. So go check out her channel and her completed pages videos. You'll see quite a few of these. I think this was a project book for her at one point, and maybe still is, but so cute. Love it. And this is awesome. Another reason I got this book is when my son, my youngest, was little, he and his aunt would do animal yoga. And he had all of these different poses that he had created based on different animals. So when I saw this book, I was like, oh, that just reminds me of that moment, and it makes me happy. So that is Yoga Animals So Cute. And the last one I worked on is Fairy Tales and Folklore coloring book by Emily Lita Hall Olberg. And again, this was the first page that I colored in here, so you guessed it, it's the title page. And I started this with my Derwent ink tints. So I managed to have a little trip to Blick this past week, and I picked up some of the Derwent ink tints colors that I had not had yet, and I was really excited to get home and try them. And so that is what I did by starting this page. I've had this on my start shelf, you know, like where I want to, books I want to start soon, and just said, let's just do it. So just a little bit of a start there, and I'm eager to get back into that one as well. All right, so today I think I had a wonderful viewer ask me, how do I watercolor when I'm in the car? And that is a very fair question, because that sounds like it should not work very well. So I thought that I would kind of go over that process, and we would do a page. We'd at least start a page in A Million Sea Creatures. And then I want to play with my gouache that I showed you guys in my haul video, because I have not used it yet. And what a better way to try it out than with all of you, right? So you can see the whole process and what happens. So we're going to start with A Million Sea Creatures. And so when I travel and I plan to do any coloring in the car, right as of now, what I have chosen to do is to take my Gravy watercolor set. So this is what it looks like. You know, it's nice and compact. It has 100 colors in this set. It comes with this nice little plastic insert that you can use if you're blending colors. You don't have to worry about pans falling out or anything like that. And it's just a really good travel set. Plus, it fits perfect. Like when I'm done using this in the car, we have like a little spot up on our dashboard that I just like slide it, and it can stay there till it dries. So I'm not putting it away wet. this is what has worked for me. I make sure that I have my watercolors. I have watercolor brushes with water in them and have them all full before I go. And then I take paper towels. If I have a roll like this that doesn't have very much left on it, I will just take the roll. If I'm working on a brand new roll, then I'll just pull some of my paper towels off and make sure that I have a good amount with me. So this is all I need in the car to color with watercolor, and then obviously a coloring book. So I usually take like a binder, and most often it's my binder that has all of my color swatches in it, and I kind of use that for my desk in the car. So I would lay my coloring book on that binder, and then I would lay this either on the other page or just hold on to it, oftentimes covering this up with like a piece of paper or something. So let me grab a piece of paper because I forgot to do that, and I'll be back. Okay, and I honestly have no idea how this paper is going to act with watercolor, so we'll find that out together. I know some Lulu Mayo books work well with watercolor, some don't, but I also had another viewer asking about, or just being more intrigued, I guess, about how to color in Lulu Mayo books. So I thought I'd kind of do both things in one. We'd color in a Lulu Mayo book, but then we would also, I would show you the process that I use when I'm in the car. This also works like if I'm just sitting out at my kids' activities or whatever, I'll do the same thing. I'm just not moving, or it also, you know, if I go inside to wait, it's really easy to take with me in a bag or something. So let's start with the water. I think that that's probably one of the easier things to start with. And I kind of want to do, the one thing I like about these grabby watercolors is that they have lots of metallic options for you, and the matte options. So I think I kind of want to do a combination of both. Maybe like do this peacock or this Prussian blue with this metallic Yale blue. What do we think? I think this is gonna, I'll probably go more indigo with this guy. So let's do the peacock blue. Okay, so again, I'm not using a color palette, guys. I'm just going for it. So these are the Pentel water brushes, and this is what I have been using very religiously. I just got these at Blick. They are the Ninja brand, and I'm eager to see how they perform. I got the small tip, so I don't know if you guys can see the small tip one, and then the medium tip. There was also a large tip, but I did not grab that one this time. So we'll try those out as well, but I'm going to start with kind of what I'm comfortable with and what I know works. But you can see my brush is pretty frayed. So if I know that this is the color that I am going to be using, the peacock blue, in the car, I would just take my brush and I would squeeze it so it drops some water in there. Hopefully you can see that there is some water pooled on top. And then I just will blend right into the pan and then probably do a couple more drops. I do feel like these gravy watercolors are pretty thirsty and they do like a lot of water. If I want to kind of see like what I think about the color, I'll just use that paper towel that I have and rub some of that on there. So your paper towels come in very, very handy because that's also where we're going to clean off our brush here in a little bit. And then I just start painting. So I'm going to go down these waves. And I am not as fast as a lot of people that you will see on YouTube. I just kind of take my time and not worry about how quick everything is. And then I will just use that as the darkest shadow color. I'm not going to worry about the little dots because I can go on top of those. But it's going to get lighter as it goes up. If you guys watch Colored by Maya's channel, she'll talk to you about that. Like separate out your your space into, you know, 3 sections or whatever, like so that you have a dark and a light, and you just have that get lighter as you go up. And I probably eventually would go on top of some of this with metallic. So I'm just getting back into that color down here and pulling that up. And you can get back in to your pan if you need to. So again, I'm doing all of this. This is sitting on my lap, like on a binder. So it kind of makes like a little desk for me. I don't have a water like dish. I don't have like my plate that I normally put the colors on. I don't have any of that in the car. This is all I have, and I just make do with that. And again, as I go up, it's just going to start getting lighter, and I'm not super concerned if I go over some spots, because again, I can go over with gel pen or other watercolors. And you kind of get your groove in the car of like where it's bumpy, where it's not. Again, this brush is very frayed, so it desperately needs to be replaced. Okay, so that kind of shows you first wave. I'll have to let this dry because I do think I want to go in and do some metallics on top, but for the car purposes, it might be easiest just to do the whole wave and then do another layer. Now, if I'm looking through, I don't see any ghosting, so that's good. That's the other thing with the water brush is I don't feel like the Pentel ones, like there are some water brushes I've used where I feel like the water just keeps coming out. I don't feel that way with the Pentel. I'll be interested to see how it is here. Let's pretend for a second that I wanted to use a new color. So then I just come over to my paper towel and I'm gently squeezing and rubbing back and forth until I have no pigment left on my brush. So now this is completely ready to go in and use a different color. So let's say that I wanted to like color the whale here. So I was gonna go in with indigo, which is right here. So same thing, I'm going to drop in some water and I'm just going to start getting that paint ready to go. And again, I'm going to talk about Colored by Maya because I just think she's fantastic at teaching. But she's really helped me look at objects and separate it into sections when I'm looking for where's my dark and my light. So like for this whale, for me, I'm going to look at the tail as a section, this fin is a section, and then this body is a section. So the body part is going to have the darkest down here because I'm going to choose to have the lightest part be up top. And then for the fin, I'm going to have it be down here. And then this would continue the body part down here. And then for the tail, I'm going to have it be down here. Okay? So then I can go back and pull that pigment up. And it's going to get lighter. And again, like I already see things that I want to be different, but I can't keep going on top with more water until it dries. So sometimes you just have to like be patient that it's not exactly how you want it, and that's okay. And all these little leaves and that kind of stuff, if I end up going on top of them, I can use like an acrylic marker or something else. So I guess if you have an idea already of how you want to do them and it's super precious to you, then maybe spend a little bit more time getting around those shapes. But if not, don't lose your mind over it, you know. And don't take your like absolute favorite book in the car the first time. Take something that you would just be okay with playing with. Oftentimes I take a book that it's like, okay, this is just going to be a book that I have fun and play with, but a lot of times my pictures ended up being pictures I really enjoy because I just gave myself the creative freedom to play and have fun. Okay, so I like how this is, but I probably will go back in with pencil or something and just darken up that. That's the other thing is like, don't forget, you can go on top with other mediums to darken things up. So this is just the first layer. The first layer of what could potentially be a lot of layers, right? Okay, so again, I'm squeezing just a little bit, and I'm using the paper towel to clean my brush off so it's ready to go and do another section, or another paint color. So let's just do this peacock blue again. And if you don't have any watercolors and you're thinking about like, hey, I'd like to try some watercolors in my coloring, this set is, I think it's a great starter set. Like you guys, if you're here because you think I'm a watercolor expert, oh, God love you, you're so sweet. I am not. I am very new to watercolors. I am just teaching you things that I have learned along the way. But I think that this is a great set to play with and, you know, try out and to use in coloring books. Just to have fun with the process of what watercolor in your coloring books is. You get a lot of colors. It's compact, you know. You can take it with you easily, like I, you know, have said here. You get the metallics and the matte colors. You get fluorescence. Yeah, there's just a lot, I think, for the set that you get. So if you haven't ever tried it and you want to, I would definitely. I think it's like normally like $20, but a lot of times you can even find it cheaper than that. So great starter option. Now I love my Gansey Tambies and my Rubens and so forth, but I don't have like White Knights or anything like that to compare it to, and I might change my mind someday if I ever get those. But right now these do just what I need them to do, and they're budget friendly. So if you're not somebody who wants to spend a lot of money on your crafting and coloring supplies, then they're perfect. And that's the thing, you gotta find things that work for you. You know, you gotta consider what is your budget, what are you willing to spend, and so forth. So you can see this is getting a little bit more opaque, which doesn't bother me because that will help it as I move the pigment up. But it also tells me I need to add some water to my paint here. So again, I have the water already in my water brush, which is so convenient. And I can just put a couple drops and mix it all up again. Starting with the darker at the bottom, and then it'll get lighter as I go up. And if you guys, I'm assuming you all follow Colored by Maya, but I don't know if you know that she has a membership, and she is great. She has videos every week that basically teach you new techniques and tricks, and I have learned so much from her. It's like the price of a cup of coffee. It's actually cheaper than coffee. So it's so valuable and so worth it, and she's just a gem. So if you are looking for like tutorials, weekly tutorials on learning or, you know, getting better at your coloring, I definitely suggest you check Maya out. She's wonderful. So hopefully this is helping you see how I do this in the car. I often like to do things like this where Okay, it's a lot of waves that I'm going to be working on, because that just kind of keeps it consistent. Maybe not like a super detailed page by like Johanna Basford. I might not pick to do that in the car, where I'm, you know, having to get into a lot of little details. But could you do it? Absolutely. I think that you could do any of it. Now, if you're somebody who gets car sick, maybe not. Try it out. But that may not work for you if you get like motion sickness or something, because you're looking down while you're moving. But if you are not, then yeah, definitely. Or in the air, I mean, like, I would take this on an airplane and totally do this on an airplane. Really anywhere. When my mom was in the hospital, I took all my coloring stuff to the hospital. So again, this set just makes it really easy, because I can have access to all of the colors. All 100 colors are in here. And I think that Graby has some new sets out, maybe like some new color combinations. I think they're like smaller though. But yeah, definitely. I haven't been sad with anything that I've gotten from Graby, and they often run sales on Amazon. So if you're patient, you'll see it on sale. At least, I feel like at least once a month, this paint set goes on sale. So just keep an eye out for it. I think I'll go in with like the white metallic, or maybe even like later my Rubin silver metallic for the caps of the waves. So yeah. But again, I'll finish this wave, these blue waves, and then I'll show you again how I clean the brush and how that works. But then I would just let that dry. I'll oftentimes set the book up on the dashboard, because then that's going to get like the sun and everything while we're driving. And I'll get out another book, and I'll either start watercoloring it or I'll do something else. The other thing I do in the car a lot is Neocolor 2s. Just color with them, and then I already have my water brush, and so it's really easy to activate them in the car. I feel like I do this more than I do like a ton of marker work, just because it's not having to change out markers all the time. I just have all the colors that I need right here, or I have my like small Neocolor set that I'll take. I don't take my full set when I go travel. I just take my like 15, my set of 15, and I'll use that in the car. And it's like whatever I have, that's what I can work with. But yeah, very doable if you don't get car sick. Maybe if you don't live on like super windy road or bumpy roads, but you're just gonna have to test it out for yourself and see how that works. And then when I get done with this, we'll check the back to see how this paper is responding to. I mean, I'm trying hard not to use a ton of water. Got this little one right here that I still need to do. So we'll do that. And I'm just going over all of those little dots that Lulu has in her illustration, and I can go on top of them with other things later. Okay, so that kind of shows you how to do that. I'm going to clean my brush again. So again, I'm just squeezing it on the paper towel and then rubbing it back and forth. I'll squeeze it again, get some more water just to make sure it's clean. The other thing that I will show you before we do something else is if you need to mix a color. So this just snaps in to either side, which is very convenient depending on what you're going to use. So I'm going to make a lighter gray, let's say, because the only gray that's really in the set, they have some metallic grays That's metallic blue gray. This is kind of, but they have this gray, which is a lot darker than what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and mix a gray. So I could do this in the car too. So I can just mix it right on here. Again, I don't need another plate or another pan or anything like that because this comes with it. I could have cleaned my brush off there, but I didn't because it was white. Okay, so I can just make a much lighter gray so you can kind of see that gray compared to the gray that's in the pan. So if I want to do like gray on this whale here, like a light gray for a shadow color, then I am just able to mix that in the car as well. So you're not stuck to those 100 colors either. You can mix your little heart away and do whatever you need to do. So I'm just going to go on all of these little lines for this whale, and then I'll probably go in with pencil for the rest. I also really like water brushes because I feel like it's a little bit more like a marker feel, like the way I hold it and stuff, than like a paintbrush. It just makes me feel like I have a little bit more control sometimes. I still like a good round brush and definitely use a round brush, but I just think I like the way that these feel sometimes a little bit more. Okay, so that kind of shows you how you can use this plate for the mixing too. So then I would just take my paper towel, I would add a little bit of water, and then I would just clean it off if I'm done in the car, and voila. So I'd say the biggest thing in the car to think about is making sure you still let your paints dry. So again, we just have like a little space up by where our clock and front view finder thing is, that I just set the paints there to dry, and I've never had a problem. Now if my husband were to stop super fast, I'd need to be ready to catch them, but again, it's worked out well for me. So that, I hope, is helpful to my sweet subscriber that wanted to know how in the world do you color in the car. And yeah, so I probably will finish off basing everything with watercolors here. I don't know about the sky. I might do something different, but we'll finish the basing. And then I'll probably go on top with some other mediums. But I'll try to show you where this one gets to at the end of the video before I upload it. So I'm going to move those out of the way and let this dry. And then we're going to start something new because I have never used this gouache other than to swatch it with all of you guys. All right, I thought this would be a perfect page for us just to do some testing of those colors. There's lots of space for the cats, and we are going to see how it goes. So if you missed my haul, I found this set of gouache paints at Five and Below. So I got this whole set for $5. I have never used gouache. I don't know anything about gouache. A lovely viewer told me they are a water-based paint. So we probably will be adding some water to them. I think that they are just like a thick watercolor. They're more opaque. All right, so I've got my plate here. I've got some water. I'm trying to decide if maybe I should just... We're going to try my water brush. We're going to see how it goes because I have it out, and that way I don't have to go find one. And I probably should... Let's grab my handy dandy little swatch chart that I made. So we have that. So I don't think I will do the white. I might not even do these three colors. We'll see. Maybe I'll do one of these as the background, but all right, that gives us a little bit of an idea for these sweet little cats. So I'll start with this lemon yellow. And I guess I'm just going to take a little bit on the plate. I'm going to try not to overthink where I put the colors too much. I'm wondering if I need more water with these. I gotta remind myself that I'm using my water brush. I'm not used to. Alright, let's try this again. I think that works a little bit better. So I'm trying to think of where I would want this to be darker and then to go lighter. I'm thinking that we could put like pencil on top. I don't know that I feel yet that it's as manageable as a watercolor, but again, I'm sure that there's a huge like learning curve that I need to go through. But this will be a fun little test page with all these cats. All right, then we have the tail, but let's check. Yeah, nothing's going through. And then we'll do the tail. I think I'm just really going to have to get used to, this is a much thicker paint, and to know how much water to use with the gouache. Okay, so I'm going to pick a cat on each page to do each color with, and then we'll see how many cats we have left. So let's do this guy over here. Okay, so yeah, happy August. I can't believe that this is my first whips video for the month, but I went ahead and did my completed pages during that time, because the last couple months I've been doing it, I was like, I would get done doing my completed pages, and then like a couple days later I would need a Strokes of Sunshine video, and I'd be like, well, I haven't had any time to work on anything. I don't know what to show. So I was like, maybe I just start putting my completed pages video in that little spot at the end of the month. And it worked very well for this month. And maybe some of it will depend on like when the Wednesday falls and the last, you know, when my completed pages video should go up. But for this month, it worked well. And I'm gonna try this month doing my Let Your Light Shine videos every other week, so that I can get some other videos up, because I still have some videos that I filmed from last month that I just haven't been able to get up. And I know I'm becoming very realistic that school starts for my kids at the end of this week, and I'm not going to have as much free time, because that means mom's a teacher again. So, yeah, we're just going to kind of play with some things. I appreciate your flexibility and pivoting with me. The other thing I want to say to all of you is thank you for the outpouring support that I've gotten from my recent community post about my change with my thumbnails. I just want to be very transparent that that choice was all of mine, while Joe's video led me to reflect and think about using my avatar and whether that was something that I wanted to do. At the end of the day, it was ultimately my decision. Like, I don't feel like I was like pressured or anything to make that choice. That was my decision, and I feel that's what I feel like is the best thing for me to do in my heart. I want my community to always know that the whole goal of this space is to show an authentic and raw journey of growth of somebody who started out very new at something, wanted to get better at it, and showed the process along the way of how that went not only in my coloring, but also just the personal side of it as well, for how I want to grow as a person. Like I say that I said this at the beginning of the video, and I'll say it multiple more times on this channel, is that I am my own whip. I am my own work in progress. And my goal in life is to always do better. To do better as a parent, to do better as a wife, to do better as a friend, to do better as, you know, all the hats that I wear. I want to do better. That's kind of that's just the person I am, I guess. I believe in a growth mindset, and I am always open to conversation. I like conversations that challenge me to think in new ways, and I appreciated Joe's video because it made me think outside the box. I also was able to have a lovely conversation with my sister, who I have talked about on this channel before, who is an amazing artist, to get her feel on things, and she also had lovely points for me to think about, as far as using like the AI avatar thumbnails and so forth. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I just felt like, you know, if it was something at the beginning that I didn't think about, that's okay. I can change and I can pivot that choice now, and it was ultimately what I wanted to do. So thank you for your grace. Thank you for allowing me space to always grow here. And if that is not what you're here for, or not what you enjoy, like, that's totally fine. I wish you well, and I hope that you find those spaces out there that you feel the most seen. But my ultimate goal is to show up as raw and authentic as I can, even in my moments of, you know, mistakes. And I don't want that to sound like a bad thing. Like, I am not like shaming myself or anything like that. It is just, I'm thankful that I could have a moment to pivot, because I do believe we need to allow invitation to one another to grow. We so oftentimes expect people to be at a certain level or space like immediately, and we forget that there's a process of growth there that has to take place, a process of reflection and understanding and absorbing new knowledge, and deciding what that means for us. And that, I don't know, that's what I want to give people, the space to do it better, right? The space to be an imperfect human, because that's what we all are, is very imperfect. The world tries to, you know, make us feel in so many ways that we need to be these perfect beings, but we're not. It's more about the growth, toward just being better versions of ourselves every day. So that is what I am trying to do here. And yeah, so moving forward, you will see my thumbnails change. So if you are looking for the Ashley avatar, she is not going to be out there anymore. She still is on some of my older videos, and like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a process to get all of those switched over, but it is definitely on my list to do and get done. And I fully support the artist community. I don't at any point want to communicate that, you know, I don't do that. And so if that means that an avatar change helps solidify that, that is what is most important to me. Especially if you've watched my welcome video on my channel, you will know that I come from a long line of creators in my family, many of which who that is how they have chosen to make their income in life. And let me tell you, being an artist and a creative does not always lend itself to a very easy journey financially. And so I would not want to do anything to hinder that journey for any of my loved ones, let alone add to that being taken away from, you know, those opportunities being taken away from someone. So I hope that makes sense. But again, if you're here for the first time and you're very lost, you can go check out my community post or Joe's video all about AI, and you'll get a better understanding of what that is. But my heart feels good, and it feels like it is my yes, which I've talked about that here too, is knowing what your yes feels like. And it definitely is my yes, and I feel good. So I'm just excited to continue moving forward with all of you and continuing to grow on this journey. And I think the more vulnerable that I can be with you guys as to what I'm going through and how I'm navigating hard things in life and choices in life and so forth, it will hopefully give you the courage to do the same. I know that I gained courage from people that show up like that in life. It's really inspiring. So, all right, this gouache does not feel like it's like a watercolor where when you add more water it thins out even more. I don't know. It could be that I'm using a $5 budget gouache set. I don't have anything to compare it to, unfortunately. So I don't know, but we are going to just keep going and play with it and see what happens in the end. I'm wondering if it's more so like you put down a layer and then you use other colors on top. Yeah, I don't know. Because I feel like it definitely has an opaque side to it to cover up some of the black lines. Okay, why don't I keep going? I'm going to speed this part up because I think you guys are going to get the gist of it, and you're still going to be able to see it sped up. So I'm going to go through and I am going to speed this up so you can see the rest of the colors and the rest of the cats done, and then I will be back. All right. Okay, so that is most of the colors from the gouache set on the cats. I will tell you, as I got going, I got a little bit more comfortable with the paints. I think you probably saw that, as I would try to go in and kind of put the darker parts on first and then blend out with a little bit more water. It is doable. I just think that I'm going to have to practice that technique because it is a thicker paint. It isn't as pliable and flexible, in my opinion, as a watercolor. But all these extra little tails that don't really connect to a cat, I think I'm going to do with something different. And then I don't know if I'm just going to do like an acrylic marker background or what, but definitely when these are fully dry, I'm going to try going on top of them, maybe with some pencil for some shading and kind of see how that goes. But definitely this was a great page to try out with the gouache paint. So if you have a new supplies, find a page that has lots of repetitive items that you can kind of put on there. It was also, I appreciated the fact that it gave me time to learn. So like when I started with the yellows and the oranges, I was just trying to fill the whole cat and getting a little bit kind of frustrated that I wasn't able to shade. But then as I continued to go on and kept trying new things, it was allowing me to use the product more with the intention that I had at the beginning, and that was good to see. So you can see where I did try to do more shading on some of these later colors. But yeah, I think it will be something I definitely need to continue to play with. First impressions, I would probably prefer getting my watercolors out, but it's hard to say that because I'm more comfortable with my watercolors. I know how they are going to be used and how they're going to work on a variety of pages. And so I need to keep pushing myself on mediums that seem a little bit more tricky and challenging. But yeah, so that is that today. I hope that you enjoyed this weekly whip strokes of sunshine. I had a lot of fun playing on my pages with all of you, and look forward to completing these pages and seeing how they turn out. But I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope that you try new things, take your supplies in the car, or get out new supplies and try them and be brave in those endeavors. And as always, I am sending you all my love and sunshine. Bye for now.